and we will go over this. Alright, so typically when you're building a deck, you first have to have in mind the Pokemon that you want to use as your main aggressor. Who's going to be the superstar? Who's going to be your partner in the battle? And as you can see, there's a lot of different Pokemon to choose from in this. From Meowscarada to crazy Pokemon like Wu Chen, Hisuian Lilligant. Of course, then we start going down a little bit further, we start changing types, and we have stuff like Arcanine X, Chi-Yu, Skeldurge, Heatran. And again, the typing is all about, you know, what tickles your fancy. Boo, I'm a ranked player. Well, I'm very sorry. I am trying to put out content for people who might be a little, you know, nervous of playing. I think that's something that kind of gets to everybody, is being new at something and being very unsure how to start. Oh, hi Sam Sam. Oh. You guys are gonna see a cat here for a second. She's over here clawing at my leg. Here, can you sit down? Sit down. Thank you. In case you guys don't know, she's right here. She's just kind of like, she wants to sit on my lap, but she also doesn't sit still, so. Alright, so yeah, when you select a deck, you definitely want to select a type of Pokemon, and from there, everything else should just fall right into place, more or less. For today, though, I think we're going to keep it relatively simple. Let's see. I was just talking about that Regieleki deck, so I think we could talk about that a little bit more and go from there. A very, very interesting way to play this. Like, let's say Pikachu. This is actually a pretty good example. Like me, I used to be very nervous about being bad at Overwatch. Then Rock gave me very good advice on how to get better, and now I'm proud and confident at being bad at Overwatch. We playing today, Rock? Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Clips, we'll definitely play. And yeah, Liddy, I mean, I know I haven't given you a whole lot of advice in terms of playing Overwatch, but you know, we can work on that. I'm sure we could definitely play some Overwatch later today or something. But back to the deck building here. I'm going to build a deck around this Pikachu X. It seems like it's not an important card, but hey, just because something's not meta doesn't mean the card has, you know, less value. At least not to the person who likes it. There's a lot of people out there who find Pikachu to be absolutely adorable, love him in every shape, way, and form. So today, this is going to be for the Pikachu players. I'm going to go ahead and throw 2 Pikachus in there, because this is going to be the face Pokemon of our deck. Let's see, I do have enough points. Let's go ahead and pick up 1 more Pikachu, so that we can have 3 Pikachus in this deck. We want to almost always guarantee that we start off with Pikachu as a starter. Miraidon here is going to be a supporter. We'll kind of come back to that here in a bit. Now, Pikachu is going to be the face of the deck. When we want to attack, when we want to start a game, whether it's mid-game, late game, or early game, Pikachu is going to be the one that we want to go to. With very few exceptions, of course. Pikachu here for 1 energy, and it doesn't matter what energy it is, does Pika Punch, 30 damage. With 1 energy, Pikachu is active and can start attacking. The best part of Pikachu is that he has no retreat cost. He also has no resistance. But the retreat cost means that you can swap him out when he's in danger of being knocked out. So that's going to actually be very, very helpful. Hi, Sam. Are you okay? You're just kind of being a lover kitty over here. Now, we can find Pokemon that can help support Pikachu in this ever-loving battle. We could take a look at other Pikachu cards here. Pikachu, Buddy Bolt, 3 energies, 60 HP, not very good, so we might have to overlook this Pikachu. Pikadash, if this Pokemon has any energy attached to it, it has no retreat cost. 3 energies for only 50 damage, again, not exactly what we're looking for. But let's filter real quick, let's see what we can find. Let's see, Raichu. Alright, and then now, here we go. We have Raichu V, something else that we can help utilize in this deck. And it is another basic Pokemon. So, I think we'll go ahead and throw 3 in there. If we can't start off with Pikachu, then we could definitely start with Raichu. Sam, do you mind? Do you mind? I'm trying to stream for the people. I'm gonna put you down over here on the floor, okay? Alright, here goes the chunk. Oh. Alright guys, sorry about that. The super chunky Sammy is now out of the way for now. Alright, so we're going to get back down to electric. Here we go. And now that we have our face Pokemon in terms of attack, we have both Pikachu X and Raichu V. So, now that we have our face Pokemon in the deck, we have to look at support. We need to find Pokemon that are going to be very helpful alongside of these 2 Pokemon. That usually means other electric type Pokemon. In this case, I will suggest Miraidon. We have Miraidon X here. In case we don't happen to get Raichu or Pikachu, we will have Miraidon X here to fall back on. His ability Tandem Unit allows us to search our deck for 2 electric basic Pokemon and put them onto our bench. So when we start off the game with Miraidon but no Pikachus or Raichus, Miraidon will allow us to search them out. So we're gonna go ahead and add in just one for now. Alright, next. Yeah, only having 7 Pokemon right now isn't very good. You want to have probably between at least 15 Pokemon in terms of like evolution and support style Pokemon. When you start running the stage, the 2-stage evolution Pokemon, that's when you kind of start running into a lot of problems. That's when the gameplay, when the mechanics kind of hinder you a little bit, but there's ways around it. Stuff like Rare Candy helps out a lot. Now, what do I mean by 2-stage evolutions? I mean something like this: Pawmi that evolves into Pawmo, which then in turn evolves into Pawmot. Having to hit the second evolution first before getting to the powerful Pawmot kind of puts it at risk, because if your opponent knows what you're doing, they can catch this while it's on your bench and get a knockout on it, which they otherwise probably wouldn't have been able to do if it was Pawmot already. So you have to be very, very careful about 2-stage evolution Pokemon. Now, another thing I was talking about was Regieleki. And now, even though this Pokemon is not exactly he's not exactly what we want, he's also going to support our Pokemon's damage. His ability as Regieleki VMAX is Transistor. Your basic electric Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So that means Pikachu's Pika Punch is going to be doing 60 damage for 1 energy. Having 2 of these, it's going to be 90 damage for 1 energy. Now that may not seem like a whole lot, but it's also increasing his other damage. If we can get 2 Regielekis on our bench, that's going to be an additional 60 damage to all of our electric basic Pokemon. Meaning Pikachu's Dynamic Bolt is going to be doing 280. Now the final support we're going to use here is Mareep. And Flappy. We're currently at 17 Pokemon, and that's more or less where we want to be. Now I am just kind of making this deck on a whim as well. So you have to understand that I know what all these Pokemon do and how they, work with each other. Now in terms of items, items do just about everything in this game. From a Pokeball, being able to catch a Pokemon and add it to your hand from your deck. Of course, Pokeball is very 50-50. It can be a very powerful item considering you can play the card for free from your hand. But it's also on a coin flip. You have a 50% chance of either catching a Pokemon or not catching a Pokemon. In this particular case, you have a 50-50 chance of either searching for a Pokemon from your deck or not. So you could play it and achieve nothing, or play it and achieve something pretty great. So typically you want to play Pokemon or Pokeballs that support you a little bit more, with a little bit more security. In this case, stuff like Great Ball is actually a great choice. You look at the top 7 cards of your deck and you reveal a Pokemon you find there, and you put it into your hand. The rest of the cards get shuffled back in. But you're only allowed 1 Pokemon from those 7 cards that you find. Other options are Ultra Ball. You can only use this card if you discard 2 cards from your hand. You search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So you're going to discard 2 cards from your hand in order to find a Pokemon that you want. So that's kind of more of a controllable thing, just at a high cost. But in this case, it's a cost well worth. Now, since most of our Pokemon are basic Pokemon anyway, we don't have to play Level Ball. We can definitely play, there we go, Nest Ball. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it into your bench. Then shuffle your deck. Now with these two, playing 4 of these 2 Pokeball or these 2 balls together is going to basically allow us to search out just about anything we want from our deck. Now another possibility you have to think of is getting your Pokemon out of the battlefield as quickly as possible in case something goes wrong. Granted, Pikachu has no retreat cost, our Regieleki VMAX has no retreat cost, and everything else has a very minuscule retreat cost. But sometimes it happens, so we have stuff like Switch Cart, which is actually very helpful. Let's see, where's it at? Stuff like Switch, which again is also very helpful. Switch just allows you to swap out your current Pokemon on the active zone with a Pokemon from your bench. But the one we want today is Escape Rope. We're going to be playing Escape Rope because unlike Switch Card and Switch, this forces both players to swap out their active Pokemon for something on their bench. And since all of our Pokemon more or less have free retreat costs, we can force our opponent to be put into a position they otherwise wouldn't want to be in. Sometimes they're gonna be forced to throw out a Pokemon that they don't want to put out there, or they're trying to save, especially if they have a low number of benched Pokemon. Sometimes they'll have like a Greninja, Radiant Greninja on their bench, or other times they'll have a support Pokemon on their bench. They just can't afford to lose. Escape Rope will force them to have to give it to you or give them one of their stronger Pokemon that they otherwise wouldn't want to lose. So we're going to go ahead and play 3 of these Escape Ropes, just so we can probably catch our opponent with their pants down a little bit more often than what they think. And if course, we're going to be running Electric Generator. Electric Generator is a very, very good card for electric decks, of course. You look at the top 5 cards of your deck and attach up to 2 basic electric energy cards you find there to your bench Pokemon, to your bench electric Pokemon. Pokemon in any way you like. So if you find 2 energy, they're going on your Pokemon for free. All other cards get shuffled right back into your deck. Now this card is too good not to play 4 of, so we're going to have to play 4. Now this is just a personal choice. We don't absolutely have to do it either. But we will do this. We're going to play Trekking Shoes. Trekking Shoes is a very generic, it's what I like to call a very generic card. You look at the top card of your deck. You may put that card in your discard pile. If you do, draw another card. So now, if we happen to pick up an electric energy, we don't mind it going to the discard pile. Why, you might be asking? Because of Flaffy. Flaffy allows us to grab an electric energy card from our discard pile and put it onto one of our active, or one of our benched electric Pokemon. So there's, there's a strategy there. And worst case scenario, it gets us another card from our deck. Moving the deck, in this case, trekking through the deck. So we're going to go ahead and play 4 of these as well. Of course, if you're not sure the quantity of something you're going to play, just put whatever number you think is going to work. And when you play the game, if you don't like the way it worked, if you have too many and you just got tired of seeing it, maybe you should remove the amount of cards you have in there. Now, I'm going to metagame a little bit here, and I'm going to say 1 Super Rod, because you just never know. Sometimes you're forced to throw away a Pokemon you don't want to throw away. Sometimes you're going to need energy cards in your in your deck. Super Rod will allow you to shuffle up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy back into your deck from your discard pile. Having just the 1 can sometimes make or break a game. Now, as you can see, we have 20 cards already in our deck, or 20 trainers in our deck. 36 out of 60 cards slots have been taken up already. Now, do we have a stadium? Now, the stadium is like a battle. Is basically the battlefield that you're going to be fighting on, and every stadium has a different ability. If we look at Lake Acuity here for a second, this is a stadium that provides assistance for water and fighting type Pokemon. As you can see, its ability says, all Pokemon that have any water or fighting energy attached to them, both you and your opponent of course, take 20 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So it reduces the damage for having an energy of either water or fighting. So usually you would run Lake Acuity in a water or fighting deck. Stuff like Old Cemetery here. Whenever any player attaches an energy card from their hand to one of their non-psychic Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So obviously, Old Cemetery, you would play it in a deck revolving mostly around psychic type Pokemon. But in this one, there's no real good electric support. Let's see. Yeah, that's for Steel and Dragon. Skater Park is not really necessary. We don't really have any Stage 1 Pokemon. No fighting types. And my music stopped. Sorry, guys. Alright, sorry about that. Okay, so, in this particular case, what I think we're going to run is something to disrupt our opponent. There are special energy cards that you can play in a deck that you're only allowed to play 4 of, and they have special properties, usually revolving around making a comeback, providing more than 1 energy at a time, stuff like that. But there's very special conditions to using them all, and usually they offer something special. So, we're gonna go ahead and run Temple of Sinnoh. All special energies attached to this Pokemon, both yours and your opponent, provide colorless energy and have no other effects. Meaning all the bonus effects that they think they're going to be getting from the special energies that they use aren't going to provide anything to them anymore. We're only going to run 3, because most decks only run 2, maybe 4 stadiums. So if we play our stadiums right, 3 will be more than enough. So now we have our Pokemon items with us, and we have our Battle Stadium with us. And you know what? Actually, let's run one other stadium. Let's run a single beach court. Beach court actually is pretty helpful as well. I wasn't too worried about it, mostly because Pikachu has no retreat cost anyway. Beach court. The retreat cost of each basic Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent, is 1 colorless less. So, let's say Pikachu did have a single retreat cost. Beach court would allow it to have no retreat cost whatsoever. So, we're going to run just one of that, just in case. Of course, we have other temples. We have the Temple of Sinnoh as well. And now, we come to supporters. Supporters are the actual name of these cards. As you can see, supporter, and then the name of the card, Professor's Research. These are the ones that you're going to want to run in a decent amount of, but again, not too many. If you run too many, you're only allowed to play 1 supporter per turn. So having more than 1 supporter in your hand can sometimes not offer you a whole lot of help. It's nice to have the variation and the variety, but not all at once. You kind of want them to come to you little by little. So we're going to start off with, since we run a lot of basic Pokemon in our deck, I think we're going to be safe to run a penny, at least 1 penny. You put 1 of your basic Pokemon and all cards attached to it back into your hand. In case one of our Pikachus gets very badly hurt and we want it back in our hand, Penny will allow us to get it back into our hand without losing any prize cards. Professor's Research, this is something else we're going to want to play. We're going to definitely play 3 of these. It's just too good. You discard your hand and draw 7 cards. If you can get yourself in a position where you have 1 or 2 cards in your hand and you're really not going to miss them, you can play Professor's Research, discard your 2 cards, and draw 7 new cards. Now, all these supporters do very unique things, usually. But for the sake of deck building, we're going to keep it relatively simple and generic. So far we have a Penny, 3 Professor's Research, and I don't think there's any supporter that specifically targets electric Pokemon, so we're going to have to play a little bit more generic stuff. Another good one, Iono. We're going to go ahead and play 3 of her. She's actually a very good card as well. Her effect is each player shuffles their hand into their deck, and then each player draws the same amount of cards equal to the amount of prizes they have remaining. So if you can play Iono late game when your opponent is winning, if they have only 1 prize card remaining, you're forcing your opponent to only have 1 card in their hand. It's going to slow them down a lot. And it's definitely going to come down to luck at that point. Now currently we have 3, 6, 7 supporters in our deck. I've come to find out a good number of supporters in a deck is usually about probably about 9 to 12, 9 to 11 supporters, depending on what you're trying to do with the deck. So I think I completely passed Boss's Orders. Oh, I did. It's right here. This is Boss's Orders. This is another really interesting card. It's basically Escape Rope, but only for your opponent. You switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. So if they have something on their bench that they're trying to save and they're trying to get ready to battle, you can use Boss's Orders to bring it out preemptively and start doing damage to it before they even want it to. Why do you need so many supporters? The supporters, they help move your deck. They're going to help you draw cards. They're going to help you disrupt your opponent. They'll help you get out of tight situations, basically. So in this case, we're going to run 2 Boss's Orders. And that's going to put us at a total of 9 supporters in the deck. I want to round it off with 9. So I'm going to put in... well, you know what? No, you know what? We should be pretty good with that right there, to be completely honest. I like the deck number we're at currently, 50 out of 60. And then we can go... energies. Now, I'll show you guys real quick. These, obviously here, this Dark Energy, Fighting Energy, Grass Energy, Electric Energy, Steel, Psychic, Fire, and Water. These are all basic energies. Nothing to them. They just provide a single thing, which is their general color is what they offer. Now, when you're looking at these other energy cards here, these are known as special energies. Double Turbo Energy, and really clearly it says Special Energy right here. Double Turbo Energy, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides 2 colorless energy. The attack of the Pokemon this card is attached to do 20 less damage, so it nerfs their damage in exchange for being able to attack sooner. Jet Energy, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides colorless energy, so a single colorless energy. When you attach this card from your hand to one of your bench Pokemon, switch that Pokemon with your active Pokemon. So it does have a special ability. It has basically a switch ability. Luminous Energy, I'm not going to go over all of these, but they're all unique in their own right, and they all do something different. That's what we're not going to be playing. What we're going to be playing is just Electric Energy. So this is the basic Electric Energy, and we have enough room in our deck for 10, which is going to be kind of helpful later on. So first things first, we need to select the art style of our energy. As you can see, there's a lot of variations of what they look like. A lot of them look really, really cool. Personally, this is my personal favorite. This is from the new Scarlet and Violet set. And then there's a bunch of other ones that we just haven't unlocked yet. This is some really, really fun ones. So for now, we're just going to go with my personal favorite, this one. And then we're going to put in 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Why 10 energies? Because all of your Pokemon need to be able to fight at some point, potentially. Ideally, well, at least 6 of your Pokemon need to be able to fight. Because if your opponent's taking only 1 prize card, they need to knock out 6 of your Pokemon. Now, if they're knocking out the stronger Pokemon, Pokemon X, Pokemon V, or Pokemon V Max, they're going to be taking 2 or 3 cards. Pokemon X provides 2 prizes if they knock it out. And Pokemon V Max provide 3 prizes if they knock it out. So, a big thing of this deck is needing to play very, very carefully. Now, this is just a very generic deck. I know